What's going on, everybody? Paul here, coming at you with a crypto coffee update where we start the day right by discussing news and upcoming events, all in the wide and ever-growing world of crypto. And of course, while enjoying our simultaneous sip where we enjoy some coffee together. So grab a cup and join me now. That is how you start the day right, with some liquid energy. Alright, let's go ahead and get into the news, our first segment of the day. South Korea's largest cryptocurrency exchange, Bithumb, has confirmed that it has lost 35 billion won, which is about $31 million, in a high-profile hack, but don't worry, it said it will repay its users in full. Let's go ahead and examine what's going on. This is an article from Wilma Wu coming out of the Bitcoinist, dated for this morning. And you can see here the tweet from the actual exchange. $30 million was indeed stolen, and everything was being moved to a cold wallet. Deposits and withdrawals were frozen to ensure user security, and all of this was announced on the 19th of June at 6 p.m. An updated post today for June 21st said that this amount could actually decrease since they've started the recovery process for a lot of these stolen tokens. And they wanted to remind users that this is a no-damage hack, meaning that Bithumb is taking the difference out of their $450 million company funds to repay users. In my opinion, this is a good move to foster trust between Bithumb and users who are affected by this hack. And this isn't the first time this has happened. You can see here from the article, Bithumb has suffered from multiple attacks in 2017, and CoinRail, a sister exchange in Korea, lost $40 million in an attack of its own earlier this year. In other news, Vice ratings. Bitfinex may be using traders' tokens to vote itself in as an EOS block producer. Wow. Now, you can see here the tweet from the company itself. EOS abuse. Other people's tokens are now being abused like Wall Street abused other people's money in 2008. Vice Ratings asserts that Bitfinex is voting themselves in as a block producer using clients' EOS tokens for themselves. Now, there's no source offered here, so all we can do reasonably is take this as an interesting hypothesis that seems to run concurrently with the fact that Bitfinex was indeed voted in as an EOS block producer, with only 4 accounts accounting for 50% of the total votes given to Bitfinex. Now, that's strange, but again, that doesn't prove anything. That doesn't definitively mean that Bitfinex is using users' tokens to do so. Maybe they have a bunch of whale friends. So without the source, we can't say anything. However, from the article itself, you can see here, an analysis of EOS voting shows that Bitfinex got half of its votes from just a handful of wallets. And to the credit of Bitfinex, there was a special tool rolled out just a few days ago that allow users to vote for block producers via their exchange wallets, and voting is still ongoing, so the current balance of block producers may change. Again, there was no source given, so for now, all this is an interesting hypothesis by Vice Ratings, and a sensationalist one, something for which they are known for nowadays. And the final piece of news for the day that I found extremely interesting, coming out of the @Bitcoin account. I know, the @Bitcoin Twitter handle is extremely contentious. However, they make an excellent point about a topographical failure known as the Lightning Network. I've driven this point home many times. However, this time I think it might be the nail in the coffin, since we're finally seeing in action the failure of the network itself, and we're beginning to get a succinct reason as to why. You can see here, there's only a 1% chance of successfully routing a $67 payment on the Lightning Network. Let's go ahead and break down why. This image was included in a tweet from the @Bitcoin Twitter handle, but I wanted to blow it up to give everybody a more clear image of what we're looking at. We're going to be focusing on the green line here, which is for June 2018, whereas the orange line was for February 2018. You can see here the y-axis, going up to down, denotes the number of routes available on the right-hand side of your screen, and on the bottom, the x-axis denotes the amount of Bitcoin trying to be sent. Notice how the graph slopes downward. Now, there are more routes available, indicated in the green. However, if you want to send any significant amount, there's really not that many available options, and that's driven home even more so by the second graph, which you can see here. Much more convergence between the green and orange lines here. This time, the x-axis, which is on top, denotes the amount of Bitcoin, and the y-axis on the right-hand side denotes the probability, or the percentage chance of this payment arriving. And you can see it drops off very quickly, so by the time you're trying to send about $67 worth of Bitcoin, there's only a 1% chance that it's going to get there. And the reason for this is explained extremely succinctly by a user in the Reddit thread, so we'll go ahead and examine his response. Finding a route through a small network is trivial, but finding a route through a larger or very large network is not so trivial. There are million-dollar bounties available in academia for decades asking for solutions to such problems for large-scale routing, such as the traveling salesman problem. Just because you can identify a problem and then throw smart people at it does not mean the problem will be solved. Another user expands upon this point in what's perhaps the most succinct explanation that I've ever seen as to why the Lightning Network is, in a fundamental way, a topographical failure. Here it is. I don't think the routing problem is NP complete. The routing problem can be solved in polynomial time with some algorithms, but finding a route isn't really the problem. The problem is that the state of the graph is always changing. In 1 second, one route is sufficient. The next second, the same route might not be available since only one person has made a transaction, or maybe they left the network. If the state of the graph changes while you're computing a route, you have to start all over. You need to be faster than everyone else in the network if you want to find a route. If you're locking the network like you would in an ordinary concurrency problem, you're locking the network for everybody involved. Bear in mind that Lightning Network is supposed to work with millions of users with thousands of transactions per second. This is a concurrency problem in such great magnitude that the traveling salesman problem seems incredibly trivial by comparison. And there you have it, folks, a very succinct explanation. You have to compute faster than the rest of the network to have your transactions sent, lest a change in state of the network make your calculations invalid because the network state, well, changed. So what you're purporting is no longer the case. This can lead to all kinds of issues in concurrency that really make the topography of the Lightning Network flawed in a fundamental way. Let me know what you think about that below in the comments. I want to hear your thoughts. Is the Lightning Network indeed flawed at its core, or is this something that can be fixed in maybe, say, 18 months or so? For now, that's all we have on the news. Let's go ahead and get into what's going on for the rest of the week. For June 22nd, Friday, Blockchain Day Online is kicking off, a free online seminar. And an EU Blockathon 2018 is happening in Brussels, and look at this image, guys. You can tell this is government funded. They didn't make a nice graphic or anything. That's state efficiency for you. And that's all we have for Friday. For June 23rd, Saturday, all we have is a NEO workshop going on in Tokyo, so if you're in Japan, maybe worth checking out. And that's all for Saturday, and I couldn't find anything for Sunday. I think this is like 3 or 4 weeks running, but I guess Sunday is everyone's a very relaxed day since there doesn't seem to be that much going on. And that'll wrap it up for this Crypto Coffee update. Thank you so much for watching. Your support really does mean the world. If you find this information valuable, share it with somebody. This content is not monetized at all. It's completely free, so feel free to just spread it around all you want. If you do want to support, we are 100% donation funded. You can drop us a like on Steam, DTube, or Viewly. Those are fantastic monetized platforms that allow us to get cryptocurrency for our efforts, and that would be very much appreciated. As usual, all links below in the description, along with a big old list of B-list coins. They're fine projects. It's just there's so much to talk about. I couldn't possibly spend all day doing that, and it would probably bore you guys. So with that, that's all we have for the day. My name is Paul signing off, and remember, the tide is rising.